moving on to the Principal Office Bearer report. Does anybody have any questions for me on the President's report? Elsa?
It's not a question, more of a comment. You mentioned here UHI social media accounts are going to be discussed to see how they can be utilised to enhance engagement with students. It was just a note that I'm a little anxious hearing this, that any kind of rules that are made are not exclusive to people who, for example, there's some people who set up, like myself, obviously I'm talking about myself, but other people as well, who've set up Facebook accounts and trying to get students engaged that way. And what I'm worried about is that in the future, someone like myself who wants to do that will be stopped from doing that because of rules and regulations about whether or not you can be representative of UHISA and things like that. So I'm just a comment that it should be as inclusive as possible. And although obviously you have to be careful about what people say and who's moderating it and stuff like that, should just be careful not to exclude people who are just passionate and want to get involved.
Yeah, my comments weren't to do with putting limits on what people were to do. Yeah. It's more on how UHISA can be using the social media that we have accounts on to be more effective and to reach more students. And so, are you aware of the session that we did yesterday?
Yeah.
So that was kind of working towards the social media, and we'll be discussing the comments that we got from that of how students use social media, which social media they use, and the frustrations that they have with social media so that we know what to avoid. So hopefully both the UHI accounts and the UHISA accounts will be more productive. So, are there any further comments? Jackie?
Page 44, perhaps UHISA should have a ceremonial dress for occasions. Would this be open to the local associations doing existing as well?
As in Common Alnwick?
As in Common Alnwick or per college, or where, I mean, obviously at graduation, the president of the association might not necessarily be a graduate. All the students.
I would be supportive of other students' associations following the same procedures. I'm not entirely sure it would be appropriate to use the same dress, because if it was dress specific to UHISA, it would be good to have the distinction, but I'd definitely be supportive if we can get this through UHI Court about helping you speak to your Board of Management to see what we can do.
Can I ask a question on that same subject? You commented that it didn't seem appropriate to wear a suit. I just wondered why.
Well, the occasion, it was when Dane and I were at the curfew of the council, and there's the councillors in their big red gowns, and then there's the UHI academics in their black and purple, and then we just kind of looked like we'd stumbled in a bit rather than we were supposed to be there. Dane, I don't know if you've got any comments on that.
No, I generally agree. It wasn't easily identifiable who or what we were or how we were associated, and I think that these kind of occasions are very much for raising the profile of UHISA and student representation. That's why we're there. So therefore, if we're there and no one actually knows why we're there, we're just a couple of people in suits looking vaguely out of place with all the academics, then that's actually doing nothing to raise the profile. And therefore, there's not so much a point for us really attending these sort of things in the first place. Although they are important, and for things like graduations, we want to be there to support the students, etc. But it would be more productive. Sorry, I'm off screen, so all the people on VC should not hear my voice. I'm going to go over there. Yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Yeah, that's it. That's all.
It was a comment that was raised by the UHI academics that we were with. And there's been occasions at graduations where we've been asked to go up on the platform, and then they're like, "Oh, so what size of gown is it? What hood do you wear?" It's like, "I've not graduated." "Oh, well, you can't be on the platform." It's like, we really want you on the platform, but you're not in academic dress. So it depends. It would be useful to have the formal dress for being inclusive in the different occasions. Are there any further questions or comments? Scotty?
Just a comment. I think that there's a sort of mishmash of, it's quite confusing the way that both college and campus are used interchangeably, but I've got a motion fielded to that. But it's noticeable in the support, but it's sometimes difficult to follow.
Okay. Any comments from VC Land?
I'd just like to say it was really interesting looking at the report, and it's interesting to find out how much you do and how all-encompassing it is, and the same with James' report as well. I think it's very difficult sometimes to understand what a SAB role is, and I think it explains it quite well, the fact that it is just so diverse. And I know that we've both been travelling all over the place, and that doesn't help as well in terms of which other student associations don't have. But thank you for that. It was quite interesting reading.
Thank you.
At the risk of sounding slightly childish, it's nice having all those pictures because I like actually seeing who you were with and where you're going, what you're doing.
It's proof that I really did do it.
Well, also just sometimes it's just text. It's nice to have those pictures in there so that we can kind of feel that we're following you in a journey around the town.
Thank you.
I concur with that, particularly with such a long report. It definitely makes it easier to engage.
Okay.